Hi, I'm Charlie Griffiths. I'm a tutor here at the ICMP, and welcoming to the ICMP we have Mike Portnoy.
We are in our final day of rehearsals for the Shattered Fortress tour, which is myself revisiting my Dream Theater past for the first time since leaving the band 6.5 years ago. So we're going to go out, and we have a European tour that begins here in London tomorrow, and we're going to South America and Australia and America and all over the world.
Your Dream Theater career kind of started in an establishment much like this, did it not?
It did, actually. 1985, so it was 32 years ago. Myself and John Petrucci and John Mayung were at the Berkeley College of Music, and that's where we formed Dream Theater 32 years ago. And it was a music college in Boston. And at the time, I mean, now there's a lot of music schools, but at the time in 1985, Berkeley was one of your only options, really. And it was a very jazz-oriented school. Now I think you go there now and it's all Dream Theater kids, you know. But when I went there in '85 and we formed the band, it was very, very jazz-oriented. We were the outcasts. We were the only kids playing Rush and Iron Maiden songs. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't speak more highly of the Berklee experience or the experience at any music school. For me, the experience was that you're just constantly surrounded by amazing musicians. Not only the staff and faculty, but all the students. You know, all the students are just sitting in the hallways practicing and trading riffs and, jamming together. So I learned just as much from the environment and the students as I did from the classes themselves. You know, that was the greatest thing I got out of Berklee, was meeting those guys, putting the band together, and then going on to the next 25 years, this big career and everything. But it all stemmed from, me meeting those two guys at Berkeley. The contacts that you make and the connections you make, that's what this whole music business is about. It's about who you meet, making connections, and they always kind of snowball into new things that blossom and create a career. I heard of Haken many years ago. Had you guys on my Progressive Nation cruise. We became friends. You guys came out with the Neal Morse band. Here we are playing together at the Shattered Fortress. It's always, every step is another step up the ladder into creating new things in a career.
I mean, I must say, I would never have dreamed in a million years I would get to play that stuff with you. So, but who have you played with before that you thought that would never happen?
There's so many. I've played with so many of my heroes. Steve Morse is one of my favorite guitar players of all time, and we play together in Flying Colors. Billy Sheehan's one of my favorite bass players of all time. We played together in the Winery Dogs and other things as well. Richie Kotzen and Paul Gilbert, and even to some of my childhood heroes, like I've gotten to play with Ace Frehley and Peter Criss. All my metal heroes with the guys from Anthrax and Slayer and Pantera, and
that's got to be the big one, though, playing with the guys from Kiss.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest for me, playing with Ace and Peter at the same time. I was playing with them for their first time playing together in 11 years. I was actually standing there, me and Frank Bello from Anthrax were standing there as the two of them saw each other for the first time in 11 years and hugged each other, and then plugged in and we played together on stage. It was pretty amazing. Yeah.
And you're the drummer for Twisted Sister.
That's true. I actually, the last 2 years have been playing with Twisted Sister, and I grew up listening to those guys. For me as a teenager on Long Island in the late 70s and early 80s, they were the biggest band on Long Island. They were, kind of like the local heroes. There's a picture in my high school yearbook of me wearing a Twisted Sister shirt, and now here 30 years later, I'm playing with the guys on their farewell tour. So it's all about those steps on the ladder, and as your career goes on, one thing leads to another and leads to another and leads to another. And that's one of the key things about this business and having a career in music. You play your music and you get noticed by other people, and that's how we are here together. And I'm sure from this Shattered Fortress tour, you guys are going to go off and experience a whole bunch of new things as a result as well. So it's not only what you know, it's who you know, and that's not going to happen unless you get out there and meet people.
Mike Portnoy, thank you very much.
Thank you.